Hi everyone. On today's episode of Barbie Dolls of the Week, I have a special treat for you, the long-awaited demo video on how to do in 4 easy steps, and that was 4 fingers. You couldn't see them all, but 4. There we go. The restoring Barbie dolls' hair and other dolls and getting them to look a lot better. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you there. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Barbie Dolls of the Week. So, this week, it's a little bit different view than you're used to. As you can see, this is a sink, and there are a lot of dolls in this sink soaking. So, I'm going to be doing a demo today on how to restore dolls that are not in the best shape. So, for instance, here's that Rapunzel or whoever she was with the really long hair. And these are just soaking in water, and it doesn't matter if it's cold or warm really that much. I prefer warm, of course, just a little bit of warm water is nice. And a dish soap of really any kind, but something, gentle or something that you like the scent of, obviously, would be helpful. And, I've got about 8 dolls in here right now. I've also got 3 separate doll heads that are separate from their body. I mean, and that's just because there were a few broken bodies, or necks, especially in that group of loose dolls that I got from Goodwill. I'm still working on that whole group. And so I'm letting them soak for a few minutes, and then what I do after that is, because they didn't really have a strong smell, but it's mostly for the hair that I'm doing this. But if you have dolls or clothes that smell bad, then this is another good way. And you may need a little bit more of the detergent kind of dish liquid stuff to get that smell out. But, rinse it really good when you take it out. Again, I prefer slightly warm water. And then I'll show you the next step on the second part of this video. Okay, so now I've got them out of the sink and out of the water, which did look a little dirty, and have them in this strainer or drainer to dry a bit before I use a plastic bus tub that I got at the dollar store to then put them in to bring them in the other room so I can work on the hair and so forth. What I might do is take them out of the clothes in the meantime, because the clothes will be pretty wet, and just let the clothes continue to dry. In fact, I could put them out in the sun for that. Okay, everyone, so now I've got them out of the dish rack, and I've got them in this bus tub that I mentioned to you that I got at the dollar store. I mean, this was years ago. I'm sure you could still find something like it, but it's really convenient for this kind of thing. And I've got them covered up mostly because we won't want any of the censors or anybody to be offended by doll nudity. And this one happens to still be enclosed, so she's going to be the one I focus on right this second. But yeah, it depends how bad the doll's hair is. This group of dolls, the hair isn't really that bad compared to some I've done. Some you're going to get, it's very tangled, it's very knotted up. And so as you try to style it and brush it out, yeah, obviously that's going to take more effort than ones like this. I mean, this is not going to take a lot of effort. But what do I use? And I use this product here, which it doesn't matter the brand. Again, this is from the dollar store, and it was when it was truly was a dollar. Now it's not. It's $1.25, but oh well, still a good deal. So again, the brand is not important, but what's important is that it's conditioner, and you're going to put some in each doll's hair as you do it, and then use that to brush the hair. And as you brush it, some of the hair is going to probably come out. As long as it's not a lot, it's not a problem. But yeah, I put a little bit of that in there. Someone might ask, well, can you use shampoo? Yes, but you don't really need to, and I don't recommend it. I just recommend sticking with the dish liquid for the cleaning and the conditioner for the styling. And once you do that, and I'll be showing you this, you're going to then rinse it out and let it dry, and then you can do the final styling at the end once the hair is dry. Okay, so I have the 4 dolls, including 3 that are just heads, with conditioner in them on here. And again, you don't put a whole lot in each one. And just, let it sit for a minute or two while you're doing the other ones. Because I do these in groups. I don't ever want to do them, just one at a time. It's too much effort. And sometimes part of this is also doing the boil wash method. But you only need to do that if it's a really bushy haired doll that you're trying to thin out a bit or tame down. I don't think any of these are going to need a boil wash, but we'll see. It depends when I go through them and brush them, what it looks like. So you can use just a regular brush like this, or there are some other kinds of brushes you can use. I'm going to start by using this one, which of course is a Barbie brush, and we'll see how that works on these here. Okay, so I went through these 4 dolls and brushed with the conditioner in, and again, I'm using this conditioner that you see. And here are the 4 dolls so far, and you can see they're looking a lot better already because, like I said, these weren't really that bad, but they weren't great. Here's some of the hair that came out, by the way. I mean, it looks like a lot, but it's, I mean, when you're talking about 4 different heads of hair, it's not. By the way, look at this fashionista. I mean, her hair is not very cut very well in the back, so that could use a trim once I'm done. But yeah, these others look pretty good. I feel like the older dolls, or even, I mean, 10, 15 or more years, they're actually usually in pretty good shape as far as the length and that. But yeah, some of these fashionistas, not so much. Okay, now this Rapunzel kind of doll, and I forget, somebody told me who they thought this was. Maybe it was from a Barbie movie, I don't recall. But anyway, I'm going to refer to her as Rapunzel just because I don't remember and I'm not sure. So she's got the longest hair, and of course, it's not in horrible shape, but it's not in great shape. So I'm going to tackle her next. I went ahead and put her on a stand and gave her a nice little dress just for while she's getting her hair done. And then I will put this in there and see how it is to work with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you this one, take this conditioner that's in my hand and put it in her hair like this. And she's got 2 bunches of hair, this long one and this shorter one. So you got to make sure you get enough for each one. And if you, what I always say is put some in, you can always put more in, but don't put a huge amount in at the beginning because you can't really take it back out easily. And don't worry if you get the dress or if they're in an outfit a little wet, it's going to dry and it's not usually an issue. Okay, so you see how and I use my arm or my hand sometimes to brush against it. So you get some of the knots out. You can probably hear some of that. You got to hold it and make sure you hold it by the head when you're brushing the hair because the neck can easily break a lot of times on these older dolls. Now her hair has several like ponytail kind of things, so it's going to have to come out. They're going to have to come out, I mean. So you just keep brushing it like that, and it smooths it out eventually. It takes some time. You can kind of see that it's coming along. And then when you get to the end, move your hand down like that, and you can get those out. See, now it's come free. So you can kind of hear a lot of times what's going on. Now, the other challenge with this doll is she has this little crown in her hair, or on her head, so you can't brush that part, but that's okay. It doesn't look like it needs to be brushed. So let's go back to this section. You can put that to the front, and let's just put all the longer part to the front and focus on this part now. Again, put your hand underneath it and brush on the top. Just brushing like that, and see it's going to be smooth at the end. It takes a little time, not a whole lot of effort usually unless it's really bad, but it gets these little knots or whatever you want to call them, tangles out, and you're going to see some of this extra hair coming out, and that's okay, like I said earlier. Okay, so let's pause there and we'll go on to the next part. Okay, another thing you can do is hold the doll upside down like I'm doing here, again by the head to not break the neck, and brush down. That's the other thing. You see here, you hear still some of those sort of crunchy sounds. That's to get those other knots out from the other side, the back side of the hair. Then just turn it back, and it sort of looks like this. And as you see, you know you're making progress when you don't hear any more of those. Um, so yeah, that's how you do this part. So she's well on her way to having a nice smooth head of hair at the end. Now I don't know what I'm going to do with the big part, but we'll see. But in the meantime, let's go on to the next part. Okay, I'm back over here at the sink. I want to go ahead and do the rinse out part. So don't put the water on too heavy or too hard, too fast, and just do this with the hair to take that conditioner back out. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, this is just one of those loose heads, by the way. So just wring it out with your hand, set it to the side, and go to the next one in this case. And you can do the same exact thing if it's a full body doll, or doll with a body. Just rinse that out and take as much water out as you can. It doesn't take a lot to rinse it. And if a little bit stays in there, it's totally fine. Okay, this is the other one. And when you do this, you're going to move on to the next group of dolls. Like I have about 10, 12 total I'm doing. So I'm just starting with these 4 or 5, and then I'll do the next group. But it's the same thing with it. Now, this is the one we were just working on with the really long hair, but not that thick, by the way. And so you just do the same, but on a longer version. And here's, you can kind of tell when there's still conditioner in it. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to rinse it a little bit more because it still seemed like it wasn't completely out. It's a lot by the head, so that's why I'm going to take some more out. Okay, that should be good. Okay, actually what I decided to do was bring the ones I've worked on so far outside to help dry because it's a nice hot warm day today. So even the clothes that I took off them I've got out here to dry. And just be careful obviously what surface you put them on, that it's not got anything that's going to get on the outfits or the dolls. But yeah, this will help them dry faster. We're ready for part 4, or the 4 steps that we're talking about here. So we've got the dolls washed, conditioned, rinsed, and now we want to brush the hair out. So again, we want to hold the doll's head while we're doing that, and just use this brush or whatever brush you want to use and brush it out. And you can see how well it's coming out because of the conditioner and just the brushing we did earlier. And it's not 100% dry at this point, but it will overnight. So now you can see from the front and from the back, it looks pretty good. Okay, so let's set her down for a minute. And by the way, here's one of the other heads that I did. And so the hair looks pretty good and it's much smoother. There's still some more that could be done down here to get some more of that bulk out. Let's see if we can do any more by holding the ends and then just brushing them like that. Okay, so you can keep working on it that way, but it's a lot better than it was. Okay, so we'll set that down. Now these two are still a little bit wet, not too bad. So again, we'll do the same brushing. And you can see they're all coming out pretty well. This is what we want to see at the end. There's still a few little ends that are knotted up or tangled, but this final brushing is usually going to get those out. Okay, these are those 3 loose heads, or heads without a body. And you can obviously look at it from the front too and see, well, what does it look like? Sometimes you want to trim some of the little edges that are kind of sticking up, or parts that aren't a full length hair. Okay, so let's set that one down, and then the last one of the heads, and then we'll look at Miss Rapunzel over there. This one seems to be the wettest, so when it's still fairly wet, for one, it's easier to comb or brush, but also it's not going to be in its final state as much. So if we compare these two, this one for some reason is a lot drier, and I'm not sure why, but you see the difference. So we'll wait on this one and not do a lot. Now let's take a look at the last one here. Okay, so she's looking better, but this hair needs a lot of work because it's got the 2 different lengths. So I'm going to pull this out, and then, you know, you've got some mixing together here. This is the longer, this is the shorter. So this is where it's probably going to need a styling product, but other than that, it's pretty good. I mean, you've got a few tangles in here that I'm taking out. And again, don't be afraid to turn it upside down. Now this one is on the stand, so I'm going to take it off. Turn it upside down so you can get a different angle of the hair. This right here. And you can use your arm to brush it. Okay. And then turn it back. And again, this is kind of weird, but I'm not sure what the original doll looked like hair-wise, but to have the two different lengths is just strange. So there was obviously a reason, and I'm sure it's part of the style, but I just don't know what it is. So other than that, this is complete step 4 of the 4-step process. So I hope you have enjoyed this video and seeing the results of what we've done. I think right now, this doll is closest to what we're trying to do with the hair. You're going from being fuzzy and frizzy to pretty smooth and nicely brushed. And then, of course, you can put some styling product in it of some sort. And I'm still trying to find out the best one for that, but to just sort of finalize it. Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time on Barbie Dolls of the Week.